up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Enterprise D from Fanhome. And as we march on into this next portion of the build, we got to do a little bit of talking about some things because in between episodes, and I kind of maybe, and it's been a week or two since recording the previous episode of this. I may have alluded to it before, but there are going to be certain components that we're not going to be able to use right now, as I need to complete the second nacelle before I can go ahead and move on to cinching these pieces up. So any part that's going to be involving the nacelles or the pylons or anything like that, at least for the time being, we're going to go ahead and skip over. I am going to go ahead and do the nacelle mod here in the coming probably weeks or so, as I don't want to get too far behind because I need to put these on and then I need to put the cover on the top. There's a couple things that I need to take care of. Like I said, any stages that have anything to do with the pylons or anything like that, or the nacelles, we're going to go ahead and skip over for the time being. So today we're going to be going and doing stages 67 and 68. And as a reminder, I've already gone through and done my resin windows, painted them up, got them all ready to go. And then in between episodes as well, I went ahead and got the sprue with all of the escape pods taken care of, so we can quickly kind of work through and get through this episode. So let's go ahead and get through stage 67. We finally get to put together this piece, and it's been a while since we've assembled the whole panel without putting it in. So we finally get to put this piece in along with one other. All right, so here is stage 67. Let's go ahead and get our package opened. And like I said at the beginning here, I already went through and got my windows all resined up, so the package has been pre-opened already. Let's go ahead and carefully get everything out. All right. Excellent. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got done here. And there's the resin windows. I do really like resining these larger windows. They're easier to pick out the bubbles and easier to do the thing with. So I went ahead and colored one of them blue, and I have black paint and then electrical tape to back the darkened windows with white paint to diffuse the lighted windows. All right, we have our pylon section that we're not going to be using, and I do like that you can see some of the Aztecing in there. It's a little less, have all the windows to kind of obscure it. So there's the Aztecing on there. It's very cool. Let's set that aside. I'm going to be keeping like a nice little pile of parts for everything. We have our windows that we don't have to do anything with, and then we have our reflector panel. All right, for this, we're going to be using FM screws and BP screws. So as a reminder, I'm going to be using 3-in-1 oil for this build for any of our M-labeled screws, as they're going to be going into metal. And it helps cut through any paint that might be built up inside of the screw holes. So, and finally, we have our LEDs and our reflector panel. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. You guys can see what I'm doing, at least for the second while I'm assembling this first part. Once I get the saucer on here, I'm going to need to go ahead and basically do a ton of work here to, I need to zoom out so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. And as a reminder, I am following along with myenterprised.com. Todd does an amazing job of showing you how to build these models, and especially for all the mods that I'm doing. All right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and turn over our whole panel. And with the reflector being held like this, we're just going to go ahead and drop it in place. And then, using one of our BP screws, I'll grab that. And we're going to fix that one into place right here. Don't over torque because you can over thread these. All right, excellent. So the zooming in has ended. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. Set this with the other whole panel. And then this is, by the way, whole panel that we created in the last stage. And as you can see, I'm following along with the window pattern guide from Todd over at myenterprised.com. And these ones, although they do have reflectors on the back, there are no these are not lit. Also as well, what I did is I popped this panel off in between episodes and put some of our aluminum tape as that is what I'm going to be using going forward to secure down the skate pods. And I'll be using this a little bit more as a light blocking technique, because some of these panels on the lower half need a little bit more help. And if we get these involved, then we'll be able to basically, what's the best way of putting it? We'll be able to do a lot of light blocking in advance so that we only have to use a tiny little bit of putty. So we're going to be using a little bit today. So aluminum tape was put in place, and we'll go ahead and set that off to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and get that sharp thing out of the way, as it was going to stab me. All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and grab the saucer section. This thing is just gigantic. Love it. All right, so where we're going to be working today, it's going to be right over in this general area. So I'm going to kind of turn the saucer so that it's kind of, so everyone can see what's going on. All right. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to grab 2 of our LED sets. And so these ones each have 2 LEDs on the end of them. We're going to be using 1 set today, and maybe another set today. I'm not quite sure. But for right now, for this stage, we're only going to be using 1, but we're going to be plugging in both. So on PCB number 2, which is going to be this PCB right here, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can get it in. And on this board right here, and in these 2 ports, this is where we're going to be plugging these 2 LEDs in place. All right, so we're going to go and zoom back out a little bit here. And watching our polarity, making sure that we're connecting in properly. I'm going to go ahead and get these clipped into place. There we go. And let's get the second one clipped into place so I'm following along with the instructions properly. Otherwise, I'll get a little ahead of myself. There we go. So both of those are put in place. Kind of sticking up from the end of the model there. All right. So the first one is going to come through here, and we are going to grab our tweezers, and I'll grab the ones with the slight angle here. And we're just going to pull them up through this way. And you're going to see a notch right here. We're going to aim to come through there as well. A lot of the wires are here in the way, so do be careful. Use a tool if you can. We're going to get that through. Just like that. Excellent. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the second LED set, split these apart. I should have split them apart later. If I was thinking, I wouldn't have thought that. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that through here. What we're going to do is at this pillar here, is it the first or the second one? It's the second one. So with this pillar here, we're going to split the LED and have one running one way and then the other one running the other. And I should not have split the LEDs until I was done with this. All right. So the sake of following Todd's directions, I'm going to go ahead and split the green and red over this way. And then how does this one go? That one's going to go over the top here. And this one comes over. Oh, so we're going to split it through here on the other side. So maybe I was right to split it. Okay. There we go. Just like that. That's what that looks like. Now, what we're going to do is grab our hull panel that we just created. And as you can see, we have our LED installation points there at the bottom. We're going to grab the first 2 from that we just grabbed, or the first 2 LEDs, and we're going to go ahead and lock them in place. And you may have to lift up, there we go, on the whole panel in order to get them in. There we go. Make sure they're secured in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use 2 more BP screws to secure the LEDs in. Finally set that down now. Okay. All right, those are in. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bend up on each one of the LEDs here. So they're kind of slightly wrapped around like that. I'll go ahead and zoom in if I can. So they're kind of slightly wrapped around to the back side, just like this. Okay. Going to white out a little bit while we're working here. Maybe we'll stay a little close. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slide this hull panel in, just like so. And I want to make sure, I'm going to check my instructions here real quick. Okay, and I just wanted to double check. So right here, underneath this portion of the panel, there is a mounting lug. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and slide this in place, and then push down to the mounting lug. And then once it's seated in place, I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my FM screws. I'm going to lightly hold it in place, going into the oil. Not going to hold it all the way down in place because I need a little bit of leverage. Okay. There's a big gap there. Take that out. There we go. There we go. Okay, I was like, there's a big gap that I don't know if you guys saw that. Maybe my fat finger was in the way. But we are now into that post. Excellent. One of my beard hairs is on there. All right. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab some magic tape or scotch tape, whatever you guys want to call it. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the green LED, which is now probably hiding back behind here. Yes, it is. And probably not in a good spot either. There we go. Pull that up. Excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab a small piece of tape. And I like to use this as others do as well. And I'm going to kind of split this in twine. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this LED. And kind of push the wire down. Get the LED into its groove here using my tweezers. There we go. Then using my magic tape to hold it in place. Secure down the LED. Excellent. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and grab this, which is going to be L107. And this one is going to slot in to the right. Kind of down, you want to kind of, it's kind of a funny thing. You want to kind of push down and then slide in. I'll go ahead and zoom out. I need to get this a little bit face towards me here. We're going to push in, I see. So you're going to slot this in to underneath this panel right here, down, and then over. Got it. Okay. So down, in, over. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my other two FM screws here. Get them tightened down. Get the first one tightened all the way down. And our last FM screw. All right. And then work through on getting these all the way tightened down. And then this is where we're going to really want to push down on that mounting lug. And then finish getting that tightened in. Excellent. Oh, fantastic. All right. So there that is. There we go. So there is a bit of a gap here. I'm feeling... Interesting. I'm wondering... Lift up on the screw a little bit. Push that down. And then tighten the screw in again. There we go. Now, there's a bit of a gap there. We will see. I'm waiting for a new power adapter to arrive, so because I wound up reusing this for another one. So before we get into the next episode, I'm going to be I have a new power adapter arriving, so I can test everything to make sure everything's all still good. But that, my friends, is the end of stage 67. And I have to say, getting a couple of hull panels on here and finally getting this one off the workbench is really nice. I'm really looking forward to getting this model kind of progressed and getting more of these panels on here so we can start to see a little less of the wires. So let's go ahead and move on to stage 68, where we get another hull panel on and get a bunch of our escape pods put in place. All right, so here's stage 68. To keep things easy for myself, I'm just going to go ahead and leave the saucer on the desk. I don't feel like putting it back in the box and then bring it back up and yada, yada, yada. So let's go ahead and get our parts out. As I said, I've already pulled the escape pods out, got them cleaned up, separated, and modified for my needs. Let's go ahead and get all of our parts out for the rest. Oh, almost got left some EM screws behind. There we go. All right, so what we have here in this little container, in this package, is going to be some screw hole covers, a spring, a couple of springs actually, and then an escape pod cover, the one with the 2 slots. Now these ones are going to go over this, which is our hull panel, and this is going to be a new sort of screw hole that we're going to be encountering on the bottom half of the saucer. It's going to be covered up with the escape pod over the top, which is fantastic. However, what we're going to be doing is setting this package off to the side, as I'm not going to be using the springs for the phaser strips, okay, on the pylons here. I'm not going to be using the screw covers for the pylons. And then for this, I want to leave off any of the permanent enclosures until I'm certain that the build on that particular portion of the build is done. And I don't need to open up any screws for any reason. So we're going to go ahead and leave those uncovered until the very end of the model, where I'm going to be doing all the dry rub transfers, which is going to take an age. I may actually take care of the top at some point over the next couple of months, as there are quite a few lifeboats that we're going to have to cover up. So that being said, however, here is our hull panel that we're going to be assembling today. Let's go ahead and get that out of the package. And it is just one of our panels with nothing but escape pods, which is really cool, and a great little glue container. I love those things. All right, we have our deck 10 and 11 front strip for the front of the ship. We're going to be getting these put in place with some putty, and I'll show you guys how to do that here soon. We have our outside of the pylon with our registry on there, which is really cool, along with the phaser strip, which we're not going to be using today. Once again, I need to go ahead and complete the nacelle mod before I can go ahead and get those installed. And then we have our AM, FM, BP, and DM screws. And I'm not sure which ones we're going to need right now, as there's 2 phases to stage 68 that we're not going to be doing one of those phases. We're just going to be, like I said, taking care of the whole panel. So, and finally, we have our little black base that covers up the back of the escape pods. But we're also going to be using some of our aluminum tape to put those in place. So let's go ahead and start with stage 68. And to do so, very simply, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to grab our escape pods. And I've already gone through and cleaned them up. So what I like to do is there are 4 little tabs that sit on the top and the bottom, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. As you can see, those black spots. I like to remove those as they help the escape pods actually fit better into these slots. So let's go ahead and get them all in place with the red pointed down, although in the end it's not really going to matter so much, but until I put the dry rub transfers on there, my aesthetic mind is not going to like if we do that any other way. So I've thought about that. I'm like, no. Pay attention, do it right. So, all right. There is the last one. We have one extra as usual. And then I got a whole little cubby full of them as well. So we'll go ahead and drop that extra in there. Excellent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple pieces of our aluminum tape. So, I kind of pre-measured a little bit here. So in order to keep it, so I'll go ahead and trim off a little bit. There we go. So it stays inside. Excellent. The thing that I like about the aluminum tape is that it sticks. It really sticks. The electrical tape, it does things. And it only really likes to stick to itself ever. So these are a little bit more, a little less pliable, so to say, but for light blocking and what have you, a lot more effective. All right. Excellent. Do another strip down below. And just match that up. And cut the end. There we go. We're also going to be using some putty to light block the front, like I said. So we'll get into that here in just a moment. I'm always terrible at taking stickers off their backs. There we go. And lining this up with the edge. There we go. And there's going to be a little bit of a gap right there at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and, can't hurt to put a little bit more on. Well, it's not covering any screw holes. We should be good to go. There we go. And it really does a good job of holding the escape pods down. So there we go. Oh, this one needs to be pushed in a little bit. Excellent. Very good. Now what we're going to do is this is going to sit over the top like this or like that. That's like that. Then what we're going to use is 2 AM screws. So we have 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the open one, pour out what I need. There we go. Up. Put one back in the bag. Go. Into our oil. All right. Excellent. So that's what that looks like, all taken care of. Very good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around and we're going to grab. Okay. So there's going to be a stamped L408 on the bottom and then nothing stamped on this side. The nothing stamped on this side is going to go down just like this. Okay. And what we're going to do, yep, just like that. And we're going to use 2 DM screws. And we've only got a couple in here as well. So crack that open, grab a couple. Set that off to the side. DMs are flange screws. And then this is where we're going to be adding our putty to do some edge light blocking. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my black tack, or whatever you want to grab, blue tack or whatever, my uhu, and very simply going to take a little bead of it just like this and just kind of jam it in. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but just like that. Okay. We're going to do this on the other side. And the reason for this is there is a bit of a gap that you can really do nothing about. And so to help with that, the putty is just going to kind of sit in that gap where there's not a plastic piece sitting over it. Okay. So just like that. Excellent. So the mods for that are all taken care of. Let's get the scissors out of the way and the sharp things out of the way so I can scroll. And what I'm going to do is we're going to be putting this in place, and this is going to be FM, if I'm not mistaken. 2 FM screws. Yes. So let's go ahead and get our FMs out of the package, and with the other ones. Excellent. Get all the garbage off the table. Yeah, BP screws, I'm assuming that we're not going to be needing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn the saucer section, making sure to lift it up. I'm waiting for Partwork upgrades, Matt, and probably the very last one ever made, actually, thanks to Todd. But I'm waiting for Partwork upgrades, Matt. So do be careful. Make sure you're putting it on a soft surface. I make sure to lift up on my model when I do move it around. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and kind of slot this down. And kind of like this piece where we're going to kind of put it down and then over and in, what we're going to do is kind of push down and slot over. There we go. These are tricky fits up here along the front to get it right. Make sure that you're getting the outside of the saucer on the top locked into place underneath before you slot it down. Because it's also needing to grab the top panel so it doesn't pop over. There we go. There we go. All right, excellent. Now with me pinching and holding, I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 of my FM screws into the oil. See if I can do this graciously. Possibly not, maybe. No. Wipe my hand off. Get properly into the oil here. And lock it in place. Oh yeah, you can feel it pulling for sure. Okay, then where the escape pods are, you're going to go ahead and grab one of our other screws, one of our other FMs. Go ahead and get that tightened down. Excellent. Well, there it is. Wow. Yeah, that grabbed the top of the saucer and really did a good job of securing that in place. So let's go ahead and flip that over. There we are. Nope, other side. There we go. Excellent. There we go. Bit of the edge of the saucer there popped up. There we go. Cool, man. That is very cool. All right. Excellent. So let's just double check to make sure we got everything taken care of. I think the only things that are left are going to be for the nacelles. And so there it is, my friends. That is what we can do, at least for my portion of stage 67 and 68. And as we move on to 69 and 70, which will complete this pack, we will be talking about what's going to be moving on, what we're going to be doing next, specifically working on the engineering section and working on a little bit of the pylon work as I start to get the other nacelle put together. I'm not going to be showing that again. I'm actually going to look forward to doing some work off camera for this model for once, besides doing the resin windows. But otherwise, 67, 68 are complete. We have got 3-hole panels put in place. We got this one, and this one put in, and we got to see our new screw hole covers and how we're going to be handling doing some of the screws on the inboard portion of this model, or on the bottom portion of this model. So that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember to always live long and prosper.